Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here, and today we found out that Intamin Amusement Rides has come out with 4 new concepts for roller coasters that will hopefully be opening in the near future. Now, IAAPA Asia will be taking place next week, and this is of course where we're going to be finding out about tons of new models for rides and coasters, as well as future technologies to be used in amusement parks. Now, interestingly enough, Intamin posted 4 new concept coasters on their YouTube channel today, and this video is going to be covering 2 of the 4. So this is going to be a 2-part video, just so we can talk about the non-water coasters and then the water coasters in a second video coming very soon. But the first of these coaster concepts is something we have not seen before from Intamin at least. And this is the vertical LSM coaster. Now, at first glance, it may seem like a Skyrocket 2 from Premier Rides, or at least fairly similar. This coaster will be the first coaster model to feature an upside-down launch section, which is just unbelievable, and is something we've wanted to see for a fairly long time. Now, in addition to that, there will be 2 separate inversions, including a torpedo dive as well as a zigzag loop, but it will feature forwards and backward launches, and of course that upside down launch to propel you to the tallest height. Now, this coaster is absolutely funky and is made for a very compact space while potentially being cheaper as well. Now, with all 4 ride concepts, it definitely seems like they were going for compact being the key, with 3 of the 4 ride concepts only having 1 version of the model. But this vertical LSM coaster looks pretty insane, honestly. And while yes, it is quite similar to a Skyrocket 2, I do think it has potential to have a completely different ride experience. And of course, with it having the first upside down launch on a coaster, I think that will be the standout of this ride. But moving over to the second ride concept we're going to talk about in this video, we have what Intamin is calling Hot Racer. Now, this is actually a concept that we've known about for quite a while, since IAAPA North America. Back in November, we did see a booklet with a picture of a single rail model with specific theming toward a racing car. So this shouldn't be at all surprising that it exists, that they are openly coming out with a competitor to the RMC Raptor model. But to see it in action, especially with the way it moves, and especially with the fact it is a launch coaster and a launch version of the single rail track, makes this incredibly interesting to see what they can do. Now, they do have 3 set layouts already, but it wouldn't surprise me if in the future, eventually, if Intamin decides to go bigger and better. Now, of course, everything looks incredibly similar to an RMC Raptor, almost an exact copy, in all honesty, beside, of course, the fact that it will be a launch version. But the most compact model is a dueling version, which is really interesting. And something I'm a little surprised by is the fact that it is not a quasi-Mobius loop layout. Now, it is a little funny looking at this and thinking about West Coast Racers in specific, because it does take on that theme as well as that dueling mantra that we see with that coaster. And of course, the launch is included, but in an RMC Raptor style track. But moving on from that first Infinity model, we'll see the Overdrive version, which is non-dueling and is a bit longer and more intense and fast, and it features a wall ride dive, which just seems to be a modified wave turn, which looks absolutely insane. But then we'll move on to the largest model, which is dueling, and it's called the Autodrome. This one being Mobius loop, actually, meaning you'll go through each side of the circuit, which is really fun. And something interesting I found on the surrounding racetrack area is the IAAPA logo, so you definitely know they were preparing for that in Asia in the next week. And I'm sure if an IAAPA happens in North America in November in some capacity, it will be a highlight for the Intamin booth or panel. Now, I could definitely say the Autodrome version definitely seems like West Coast Racers and a Raptor had a baby, which is kind of crazy to think about. It makes me super excited to see what RMC is going to do in the future. And man, I can't help feel but bad a little bit for RMC with GCI debuting their new hybrid track back in November, and now Intamin coming out with a Raptor-styled model. It must be a bit concerning seeing that competition, but then again, if we know how business works, competition always makes things better. So I really can't wait to see what all of the new designs end up being in the near future. Don't expect any Intamin single rails in the US for a good another 2 to 3 years potentially. Since this is being featured at IAAPA in Asia, it should definitely be expected that they are trying to put this in China, and heck, they may actually be introducing a coaster like this in China fairly soon, especially since China is the biggest growing amusement market in the world at the moment. So it would not shock me at all if both of these coaster types end up showing face in the country soon. But man, I'm super excited to see everything that comes out in the next couple years, and to see where the next RMC Raptor goes, of course, which, if you didn't know, is actually my favorite coaster model. I have been on both existing Raptors so far, and I absolutely adore them. And I can't wait for Jersey Devil Coaster, and hopefully something a little closer in the near future. But with Intamin coming out with a very similar model to that, I of course wouldn't mind one of those in the US eventually as well. Now, something that's easy to notice with all of these coaster models is the fact that they don't have many footers, meaning that it will most likely be a cheaper process for construction as well as a cheaper purchase in general for these new coaster editions, which definitely seems to be why Intamin is going this route. Because while their bigger models may be amazing and unforgettable, they definitely seem to be too expensive for most parks. Whereas going this cheaper route can definitely see a reemergence of Intamin all over the world, which I'm sure they're very excited about potentially happening. But I did want to say thank you so much for watching, and where do you think these two interesting Intamin models can fit in properly, at least in the US? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what US parks these coasters would fit in best. And of course, if you haven't, make sure to subscribe. We're going to have a second part to this video very, very soon, and that will be linked in the top right corner as well when it comes out. But I'm super interested and excited to see what the amusement industry has to offer over the next 5 years, because if this is just the beginning of it, it's going to get absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait. But again, thank you so much for watching, but until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.